How's it going? I'm Flipper League 5280. Welcome back to the channel. This is my auction Subaru that I'm doing a rebuild on. Paid $400 for the car a little while back, and it came with a few surprises. One of them was an engine knock. Yeah. So on the last episode, I went ahead and changed the bearings out for the engine. There's the rod bearings on cylinder 3, and apparently I got the wrong size. There's two different crank journal sizes, 52 millimeters and 48 millimeters. Apparently the car has the 48 millimeter crank. I got the 52 millimeter bearings. So I got a hold of Rock Auto. I ordered the correct bearings, and here we are today. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so first thing we got to do is get the car up in the air. I'm going to take the wheels off so that way I have more room to roll around underneath it. Right now I'm using the scissor jack that came with the car. I will be switching over to the bottle jack once I get it up high enough. And then we'll stick this nice 17-inch wheel under there with some wood blocks to keep it up, because I don't have any jack stands right now. So let's go ahead and lift this thing up in the air. Get the wheel off. All right, get the oil drained. I got both the sides up in the air. Now we're gonna drain the oil because we're gonna be dropping the oil pan. And I'm also curious to see what this oil looks like. Try not to make a mess here. Ooh, that looks bad. See a lot of metal in there. The drain plug looks very sparkly. Yeah, that's not good. That is not good. There's definite damage in there for sure. All this has a silvery look to it. That's gonna be bad. Oh, don't blow this way. And we're gonna let that in. Try and get this filter off. Whew. I wonder who the last asshole was that put this one on. Oh God. Wow. That is on there astronomically tight. And the Suzuki over there locks are going crazy. I don't know why. It's unlocking and locking, unlocking and locking. Hoopties. Oh God, that's a mess. You know what sucks is I've only put like, I don't know, 10 miles on this oil. Yeah. Well, that's what happens. You put the wrong parts in. Alright, I think it's done draining there. Oh! Yeah, that was not good. And I got all over my microphone. Alright, let's see if we can get these open. There we go. I'm going to be replacing this oil pump anyways, so I just want to see what we can see in there, because Doesn't have any oil pressure. Well, it does have oil pressure, but not very good oil pressure. The oil pressure light comes on if it gets down to idle speed. So I'm assuming that's an issue with the oil pump. And I think that's probably why this car had bearing problems. Oh, there comes a bunch of oil with metal all over it. Oh yeah, there's a lot of metal in there. All right, let's plug this oil pan back up, and we'll get that oil pump plug out of there and see what we can see. Let's put this back in there. All right, let's move this over. There seems good. You see that? It's not a good color. It's not what you want to see. That's really bad. Very, very gray. Definitely a lot of material in there. All right, well, let's go ahead and pop off this other one here and see what we see in there. Ah, okay. I'm assuming it's probably going to be much of the same with a bunch of material. Oh yeah, same thing. Look at that. Oh, that's not good at all. Well, good thing I got a new oil pump. It looks to me like these parts are a little damaged. Well, as you guys seen, we got quite a mess here. Quite a bit of oil with metal in it. So yeah, it's a good thing I bought a new oil pump. And I think this time while we're in there, we'll go ahead and pop those other connecting rod caps off and check those bearings, because the amount of metal material I see in there, that's not good. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for today, as far as I got, and I'm out of time. So in a couple of days we'll continue with this teardown here. All right, welcome back. We're here, and we're going to be taking off the cooling fan, and we'll see what else we can get to. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is bust these 10mm bolts. They go all the way around. day. It's nice and sunny. It's not windy, it's not raining, it's not snowing, it's not cold, it's not dark. And hopefully we can get everything done on the Subaru. And if you haven't seen my other episodes, I bought the Subaru for $400 at auction. I actually got it at one of my local auctions here in Colorado. And I'm trying to get it back on the road, fix all the problems it has, and maybe we can sell it and turn a profit, and if not, that's okay. I just want to get this car running again, get it driving like it did when it was new, and hopefully somebody else can enjoy it for another 100,000 miles. It's already had the cylinder heads replaced, gaskets replaced 20,000 miles ago, but when I bought it, it did come with a rod knock. So we're gonna go ahead and drop the oil pan and change the rod bearing on cylinder 3. Maybe pull off the caps for the other rods and check those, see how those bearings are, because I got a full set, might as well. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the car. 400 bucks. I think I got a pretty good deal. Trying to fix it cheaply. Oh, and we got to do the oil pump as well, because the oil pump's bad. But so far, the car's actually pretty good condition. It's got nice new tires on it. The interior's just dirty, not bad. It needs a little bit of paint, but we'll get to all that stuff in later episodes. Right now, I'm just going to focus on getting the engine right. And I've already taken off some of the parts on front of the engine here. So right now what we're going to do is take off the exhaust so we can get to the oil pan bolts. We got to lift the engine and the transmission, because on the back side of the oil pan there's no space to get a ratchet up there or extension to take those bolts off. So right now we're going to take the exhaust off, and that's how we're going to start the day. So let's get it done. Alright, so right here I'm just going to remove the wheels because I need more room while I'm rolling around underneath the car. So now I'm removing the driver's side wheel, and my Milwaukee drill for some reason doesn't want to take off these lugs. So I opt for my Amazon purchased impact. And I should be coming back shortly. Come on, dude. Hurry up. There I am. And as you can see, the Amazon Impact does it with ease. Much easier. Let's get that wheel out of the way. Now I got to take off these exhaust bolts. They are 13 millimeters. This was very hard to do while laying under the car. It was an awkward angle, but I got it done. Take the other one off. Got my elbow in the way there. And I knocked the camera over. Now I gotta take off this 15 millimeter bolt that holds the exhaust in place. And now I'm taking off the 14 millimeter bolts for the headers. And there's 3 of them. And unfortunately, this all has to be done just to get the oil pan off, so that you can raise the engine. Now this is the passenger side. Got 3 bolts on this side. Well, 3 nuts, 1 bolt. And try and keep that from falling on me. Alright, and so now I gotta unhook the exhaust from that bracket that I took the 15 millimeter nut out of, and then it just drops down and I can slide it out from under the car. breech up under there, just pull it out. This piece is pretty heavy because it does have the catalytic converter, it's the headers and the cats, and then it's got all that shield. Alright, now here I am jacking up the transmission. This is so that I can reach to the bolts that are holding the oil pan on the backside. Otherwise, there's no way to get back up in there. The subframe's in the way, so you gotta jack up the transmission and then take off the nuts right there that hold the engine mount in place. That was the passenger side, this is the driver's side. Once you take those out, then the engine, everything can raise up. Now I can start working on taking the 14 bolts that hold in the oil pan and just go around and loosen them all up. And you can see on the back side there where the subframe's at, there's no way to reach those, so you gotta lift the engine in order to get to those. Now I'm going to start taking the ones that are in the back. I think there's 5 of them or 6. And you see I'm using a 1/4 inch ratchet with 2 extensions and a universal joint, so I can reach them because they're way back there and up in a tight spot. But once you get the engine up, it's pretty easy to reach those. So if you have a Subaru, this is what you got to do. Now I can take a screwdriver and just pry the oil pan off, and it slides right off. At this point, I'm just kind of looking at the oil and realizing there's a lot of metal in there. A lot. Excuse the annoying jet taking off in the background, but now it's time to take off the bolts for the windage tray and also remove the oil pump pickup tube out of the way so we can check out our rod bearings. Well, I got some good news and then some bad news and some more bad news and then some even worse news. So good news is I got everything off with a lot of ease, no issues. Took me about an hour to get all this stuff off and get to this point. And at first this was the problem bearing, but as I started touching other ones, it was not good. So we'll go to this one here. This one wasn't knocking before. Well, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. And when I go to this one up here, that doesn't sound good either. And there's another one in here, and that one sounds even worse. So pretty much the engine's toast. I can get to these 3 rod bearings from here, but I definitely can't get to this one. I would have to split the block in half. In order to do that, the engine has to come out. So with that horrible news, I'm pretty much done here. And this is sometimes what happens when you buy vehicles from auction and you just don't know what you're gonna get. Sometimes the gamble turns out to be a good score. Other times you get screwed like this. So it is what it is. I knew I was gonna take a risk when I bought this thing for $400, sight unseen. Initially, when I did the first rod bearing, I'm almost 100% sure that was the only one that was knocking. But I feel like with the oil pump being bad and me continuing to drive it, when I replaced that number 3 rod bearing, it just completely destroyed the rest of the engine. And yeah, so now I don't know what I'm gonna do. I really don't like giving up, so it's definitely not the end of the Subaru. But I think for now, I'm done with it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to work on it anymore. I've spent tons of money buying parts for it that I thought I was going to be able to replace after this. And now those parts are just pretty much going to collect dust until I can figure out the motor situation. So, with that being said, that's all I got for today. I'm just going to clean up this mess and go home. The only other light of sun or ray of sunshine that I have is the car right over here to the right, which is the Suzuki, and that one has a bad head gasket. I also bought that at a local auction, sight unseen. So I guess we'll tear that engine apart and see how bad that is. Oh god, it's not a good day. Thank you for watching. I'm Flipper League 5280. Catch you guys on the next one. This here. That's definitely not supposed to be like that. That's basically the inside of the engine turning into paste. A nice metallic gray paste. That's the engine bleeding internally. I love Subarus. We can kind of see what was happening here is, since these were the wrong size for the engine, this bearing was actually spinning in here. And you can see that's how you know it was spinning. And it's just completely destroyed. And this bearing doesn't look too bad, but it's definitely got grooves in it. And yeah, this is not a good sign. This is ultimately what destroyed the motor. I should definitely have not have done that. I screwed up big time. That's what happens when you try new stuff cheaply. Let's do it the right way, people. If you're in there and you're taking your time to work on something, do it the right way, because if not, this is what happens. And then you basically have a non-running vehicle and you're screwed. These are, this is cylinder number 4. Look at this. I mean, look at that. That's incredible. I have never in my life. That's crazy. Now, I was looking at that and it does say 0.25. So I'm gonna look these up online and see what size they were, because they were I don't know if they're oversized or standard or undersized, but these are cylinder number 4, and you can just tell that it was not getting any oil. I mean, that's complete oil starvation, and the oil pump is bad on this car. But I mean, the crank is horrible. Like, if I was just to slap some bearings on there, there's just no way I could do that. Like, this is just, the motor's trashed. It's completely trashed.